Hello and welcome. In this video I'm going to teach you how to make this modern timeline slide in Microsoft PowerPoint in less than 10 minutes. So without further ado, let's go. Right, here we go. So this is the slide we're going to create today. I'm going to start off with a brand new fresh slide. Just select all of that stuff that PowerPoint puts on it, hit delete, we don't need any of that. And we're going to start off by inserting the primary shapes. So in this case we're going to insert a right angle triangle, we're going to go to formats, we're going to remove the outline of that shape. It doesn't really matter about the size and shape of it at the moment. We're going to hold down shift, we're going to rotate, we're going to slot it into that corner. The PowerPoint should automatically align this. We're then just going to resize it to a shape that we're comfortable with. All about placement and layout. So again, this is where you can be creative. So it's quite fun. Hold down Control D to duplicate. We're then going to change the color of that duplicate shape. And then we're just going to resize it slightly. Right click and center back. So that sends a shape to the back of the layers. We're then going to position it back in that corner. And that just gives us this kind of outline effect. Hold down shift again and we're just going to resize that to a width we're comfortable with. Hold down shift, select both shapes, Control D to duplicate. We're then going to hold down shift and rotate using that little handle and then put them back into the opposite corner. And this is where we're also going to resize them to leave enough space for the actual text itself. So we're just putting that first shape in. I think I'm pretty happy with that. This is going to need to be a bit bigger. So I'm going to hold down shift, resize that slightly and slot it back into that corner. So that's looking quite good. That's the basic layout of the slide. Just going to make a few more little tweaks, but overall I'm comfortable with that. We're then going to insert the secondary shapes. So in this case we have circles. Hold down shift to maintain an even circle. Looks about the right size, maybe slightly bigger. We're then going to go to the primary fill, change the fill color. We're going to change the outline to white and actually make it a bit thicker as well. And you'll see why in just a sec. So we're going to position that one in the bottom left-hand corner. Control D again to duplicate exactly the same shape. We're then going to just try and space them out across this timeline. Okay, so in this case we've got 5 stages. Again, you can have 4, you can have 3, you can have 6, and you can just change the sizes to suit your needs. But I'm pretty happy with that. So the next thing we're going to do is insert some lines, these kind of call out lines. Again, hold down shift to make sure that your line is straight across an axis, and then a secondary line there, and just align it to the end. Hold down shift to highlight both of those. We're going to change the thickness. There we go. And then on the horizontal line, we're also going to make it dotted. Nice and simple. And then just to make things easy for us, we're going to highlight both of those. We're then going to right click and go to group. And this just groups those shapes together and treats them as one single shape. Very easy to ungroup. We're going to Control D, duplicate, and just line those up against the midpoint of each of the circles. You can see here our spacing isn't perfect, but it shouldn't really affect the overall outcome of the slide. There we go, just doing a bit of final alignment. But I think that looks pretty good. Great. So next up we're going to find some icons to go inside the circles. Again, the latest version of PowerPoint comes with this icon tool. Really useful. There are other tools available online, just takes a little more time. You can go to things like Noun Project and various other websites where you can get icons. So we're going to resize those as a group, holding down shift to maintain the aspect ratio. We're then going to turn them all white, so just turn those icons to a white fill. We're then just going to place them inside each of the shapes. PowerPoint's very good at sort of helping you to align these, but again, you can just select both of the shapes, go to format and use the align tool to get them in the perfect spot. In fact, I think on this one I'll just show you. So there we go, format, align center, and align middle, so across both axes. Okay, so next up we are going to go for the text. So we're just going to put the text on the slide now. So we're really composing the slide as we go. We're calling this a route map timeline. Again, title can be yours. We're going to change the font to something like Arial, which is nice and easy to read, quite modern font. Increase the size a bit, make it bold, make it feel like a title. Be careful not to remove any of the shapes or put them out of place. We're going to change the colour of the font. Control D to duplicate. Line this up nicely below. Remove the boldness. Reduce the size of the font. We're then just going to put in the kind of key strapline of the slide, what the slide's all about. So in this case, this could be a typical delivery timeline for a consulting engagement, for example. It could be a series of phases or steps. It could be the sort of stages on a maturity journey. Lots and lots of uses. So it's a really versatile slide, actually. There we go. That should do. Okay, so now we're going to insert the pictures themselves. I found this picture of a nice mountain range on a map, and I've gone to Format, Fill, Picture Fill. You can then go to Format again, go into Fill, and you can then just unselect that Rotate with shape. And you can see there it's put that picture in. It's not quite in the best alignment, so we might want to crop it later. I've done exactly the same with the other one. So right-click, Format, Insert Picture Fill, and I've chosen a picture from the web. I've actually taken this picture from Upsplash, which is a really excellent website for finding free stock photography. So here I'm in the crop section. I'm just going to resize that to make it look kind of right. I'm going to place it within the right angle triangle, and I think that placement looks really nice actually. So that's perfect. I'm just going to duplicate this text and use it to then add our timeline steps. So I'm just going to call this stage 1, and then I'm going to repeat that stage 2, 3, 4, and 5. Starting at the bottom left and finishing up in the top right. I think that should do. Can be slightly fiddly to align some of these. PowerPoint's normally quite good. If you Control D, it will remember your last positioning, as you can see there, and make it slightly easier for you to align them. So we'll just number these up. Great, and then I'll duplicate this text box again, bring it down. I'm going to reduce the font size, position it nicely, and again this is the descriptor. This is what the stage is all about. I'm going to turn it grey to make it sort of differentiated from the title, and then you get the picture. You could put in your stage 1 text here. I'm then going to duplicate that using Control D again, probably the most useful thing in PowerPoint, one of the most useful shortcuts I should say, and then just position them next to them. You can see here, not the best positioning. I've had to reduce that bit on slide 5, but not too bad. And that looks like a really good timeline slide.